What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for September 30th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast, a gloomy day after Monday. And we might as well get right into it. And I will tell you right now, I am not going to make any friends on this podcast, so buckle up. And first and foremost, I was going to go on one of those rants like I did with the Phillies and just go on and on and on about this team. And then I realized they're not worth it. They're just not a good team. At least with the Phillies, when they were going through their stuff, it was out of frustration because the potential was there. I don't see any potential in this. And you can prove me wrong. You can talk new Philly versus old Philly all you want. This team is just not good. And it has nothing to do with being Negadelphia and blah, 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 blah. This is just what I'm seeing with my eyes. This team is not good. 33-16 down in Tampa. Miss me with the whole, it was hot. Both teams played in it. No, that team was unprepared to play. We did win our bet. A little bit of plus money, too. So I think that helped our, I should have probably kept track of which I will. I'll go back and look. Kept track of our money for it. But there's no way this team was going down there to win. I guess let's start off with the three keys to the game because that'll kind of weave in and out some of the other things that I was going to rant about, but it's just not worth getting all worked up about. I guess the first was handling the blitz, and they couldn't do it. And Todd Bowles didn't even really blitz them that much in the first half. They just could not get it done. Jalen Hurts was sacked 6 times. He was under pressure a lot more than that. He had the fumble, which if Jalen didn't have his reputation or hadn't been known for turning the ball over in this stretch, I'd say, okay, that was just a thing of bad luck. But it happens all the time. I mean, yeah, you got to have some pocket awareness and pocket sense. Like, you can't just stand there like a statue. And it was not good. And don't give me the short-handed stuff. And, he didn't have his 2 best receivers. Guess what? It's time we have an honest conversation that maybe Jalen Hurts just is not good. I saw Donovan McNabb for years throw to Todd Pinkston, James Thrash, Torrance Small, Charles Johnson. Rest in peace. But, nobody complained then. We said, man, he's good. Could you imagine what he's at? And with Jalen, this was the perfect opportunity for him to step up and show that he is an elite quarterback, and he's just not doing it. I don't think his arm is strong, and yet, he was on the run, and the ball sailed. No, if you make a good throw, Saquon Barkley scores a touchdown. That's all. That's it. And I saw it against Atlanta where he missed Devontae, which I thought he didn't see him. I felt he just didn't think he could throw the ball that far. And all the Jalen apologists take a look at yourselves. He's not that good. I don't think he's that good. And I think we caught lightning in a bottle in 2022 and overvalued what he is and $50 million and that's the going rate for a quarterback. I get it. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's not playing up to his potential right now. He's not an elite quarterback. I think we've overvalued him. And again, I saw Donovan throw to way less than what Jalen had and make those guys good. I just don't think he's that guy. And I mean, you can say what you want. He was under pressure. No, that comes down on Jalen. I mean, it is what it is. And you're probably going to disagree. And like I said, I'm not here to make friends today. He has no pocket presence. He's very inconsistent. That pass to Saquon was a duck. I mean, we would get on Donovan for throwing low balls on a short pass, but very few people that I've seen in Eagles history have had the deep ball that Donovan had. Donovan had a touchdown on that if that was Brian Westbrook. And I say what you want. I mean, I just don't think Jalen's that good. And again, not here to make friends today. It's just I'm calling out like I see it because this is what this team needs. The second key to the game was consistent pass rush. They had 2 sacks, but Baker early on and had all day. They drove right down the field. the first drive of the game. It was the first time Baker Mayfield had ever done that in his career. And then you gave him all day. He had a couple runs, so you didn't have containment. And that first drive set the tone. And really, the only person that showed up on that defensive line was Brandon Graham. But okay, that's on the coach. That's on Vic Fangio. That's on somebody. But, I mean, Vic Fangio is sitting here getting a free pass, and this dude doesn't want to coach. He's riding out the string. I mean, the missed tackles, 11 or 12, whatever it was, missed tackles, that's on the coach. You got to coach these young guys. And he has no intentions, and it doesn't seem like he has any desire to coach these guys. So that's where you have it. No pass rush, and you saw what happened. You let Baker Mayfield pick you apart. And then the third key was Nick Sirianni. I mean, from a decision-making standpoint, it was a non-factor, but that team was not ready to play. He didn't have that team ready to play. That team, you could tell right from the very beginning, they were checked out, already looking forward to the bye week. Zero energy, zero effort. And again, I don't want to hear that it was hot because you saw Tampa came out with some energy. That team was not ready to play, and that's on the coach. That's on the players. It's on the coach to get the players ready, but they weren't ready. He didn't seem like he was into it. No energy, and I say no heart. No real. The only person that I saw was playing with any kind of urgency and heart was Saquon Barkley and Brandon Graham. 2 guys out of 53 that were playing with any type of urgency and real heart. And maybe that's not fair. Maybe I don't know. And with the Heat, I mean, where's the training staff on that? I mean, it was 23 years ago. The Eagles training staff went down to Dallas, had a bigger or higher temperature than what was there. They drank pickle juice and ran all over the Cowboys. So top down, this was just pathetic, absolutely pathetic. And again, this team has no fundamentals on defense. Jalen Hurts is just not good, zero pocket awareness, and I don't think his arm is as good as everybody thinks it is, especially the apologists. Where was Jahan Dotson? Where was he at? I mean, take your pick. Special teams. You're kidding me? You ran into your own player, the guy fielding the punt twice? That's on coaching. And I don't, again, I'm not getting all worked up about it because this team is not worth it. They're not good. They're not going anywhere. So it's great. Bye week. We don't have to put up with them next week. We can focus on the Phillies next weekend. But this team isn't going anywhere. Washington will win the division. Mark my words. I'm saying it right now, September 30th. Washington is going to run away with this division because the Cowboys suck, the Eagles suck, and the Giants are worse than suck, what word is worse than suck. And truthfully, the Giants will beat the Cowboys, guarantee, or the Giants will beat the Eagles. I can almost guarantee you that. This team is absolutely terrible. And again, I don't care about new Philly, old Philly. I'm going by what I see. You got a coach who doesn't know what's going on. You have a quarterback who's just not good. You have a defensive coordinator who has zero interest in coaching young guys, just trying to ride out the sunset to retirement. Who knows about the offensive coordinator? Is he allowed to call his own plays? Is it fully his game plan? Is Nick sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong? Who knows about that? Special teams, Jesus, that was 100%. That was like watching Pee Wee football, and I've seen Pee Wee football teams do the handle the punt better. I mean, they hit 0 of the 3 keys yesterday, and again, is it coaching? Is it the players? I mean, yes, that's all I can say is yes, it's all of it. Start with Howie. Howie is borderline on like a Doc Rivers sort of plane right now where he's riding the coattails of that 2017 Super Bowl, and everybody thinks maybe he's not as great as we all think he is because he drafted these guys. He brought these guys in for free agents. Where are they? What are they doing? And maybe I'm a little bit more angry and going on more of a rant than what I thought I was. But this team is just not good. Not good at all. So that leads to today's question of the day. Whose fault is it? I mean, take your pick. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Vic Fangio. Let me know. Get your thoughts out. Vent. Tell me how much of an idiot I am. Jalen supporters out there, go ahead and tell me how wrong I am about Jalen Hurts. But I'll give you one thing. As soon as you tell me about the top two receivers being out, Donovan McNabb. And yeah, Donovan was much better than Jalen, but he made the players around him better. Jalen does not make the players around him better. And to me, that is what you need in a franchise quarterback. And Jalen needs those guys in order to be good when good quarterbacks make the players around them better. And I have not seen that out of Jalen. And again, Jalen apologist, let me have it because I don't see it. He does not make anybody better around him. 267-495-8531. That's a Back to the Future voice and text line. Go ahead. Let me know how wrong I am on Jalen. And again, I'll tell you that you're drinking the number one Kool-Aid. But bye week could not have come at a better time. I need a break from this team. I think we all need a break from this team. Focus on some Red October. But whose fault is it, though? 267-495-8531. Is it Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Vic Fangio, somebody else? Let me know. But go ahead. And Jalen, apologist, please rip me. Let me know. And you're wrong, but go ahead and tell me how wrong I am and how great Jalen is because I don't see it. And if you are going to rip me, at least tell me who he makes better on that team. And I'm open for ears because he does not make anyone better. He needs the players around him in order to be good. And that, to me, is the difference between an okay quarterback and a great quarterback. And Donovan McNabb was a great quarterback because he made Todd Pinkston and James Thrash serviceable receivers. They were not. And who does Jalen Hurts make better? Hit me up on social media, Jimbo_Mont, Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Spread the word. If you're enjoying it, if you have some other Jalen apologists out there who want to join the fun, spread the word. Let them know. We take all comers. We are non-discriminatory here, so I'll take it. And if I'm wrong, I will come on and tell you I'm wrong, but I'm just not seeing it right now. Spread the word, though. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. All right, tomorrow we start our Red October Spotlight. I'm not sure what we're calling it yet, but we're going to focus on some of the best Phillies postseason games as we lead into our Sixers preview. And then we go into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame induction spotlight. And we are so close. Any information you need for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame is down in the description. Ticket information on the inductees. Definitely looking forward to that, but excited to actually do some positive tomorrow with the Red October and taking a look at some of the best Phillies postseason games of all time. And then Clashing Conferences should be great this week with the NFC East OG guys, as well as the baseball. Lots going on in the NL East and NFC East. So go check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences. That's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Those guys are good. And I'm just going to throw some shots here because that's how I am. Speaking of the NFC East, do you see what I did there, Topher? I was objectively looking at my quarterback, not blindly saying that Daniel Jones is the greatest. So, yes, shots have been fired. I don't even know where that's going to go. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Clashing Conferences. Then go to Philly Goat. They have you covered for your Eagles, or not your Eagles, not that you want to wear any Eagles gear. For your Phillies, Red October needs. They got the Holy Schmidt, Go Phils, Believe, the election stuff for Cruck and T-Mac. Go to Philly Goat, check it out, and most importantly, the fans are back. My favorite all-time shoes. I love them. I would wear them today if it wasn't rainy and sloppy, and I don't want to get them messed up. But go to phillygoat.com. Be sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, Phils end the season with a 6-3 win down in D.C. Nick Castellanos had a goal. Nick Castellanos accomplished his goal, played in all 162 games. First time a Philly has done that since Jimmy Rollins back in 2007. 6 most wins in franchise history. Not a bad season. At one point, it looked like they were going to shatter that 102 win mark. But a solid season from start to finish for the Phils. And they got the bye, so they get to rest up. And it remains to be seen. At some point, one of the teams that had the bye is going to be able to go on a run once teams adjust to it. But we'll take it, get some rest. Lots of good baseball today. Doubleheader between the Mets and the Braves. And this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So they play a doubleheader. The Mets, Braves, and Diamondbacks are all in play for the last 2 postseason berths. One of the teams out of the Mets and the Braves are going to get it. So if either one of those teams sweeps, that team is in, and so are the Diamondbacks. If they split, both the Mets and the Braves get in. Diamondbacks are the odd men out. And I'm anxious to see how this plays out because I think both teams are trying to sort of plan ahead with the way their pitching staff. They're saving their aces for game 2, possibly if they need them, because they're going to need them in the postseason series too. So I'm anxious to see whichever team wins that first game, how they play the second game. Are they going to mail it in and essentially give the other team the postseason berth, or are they going to actually play it to the vest? Like, are they going to rest their guys, or are they going to play their starters once they know they clinch? Because had it been they clinched on game 161, likely would have set guys out on game 162. So I'm anxious to see how that plays because it adds a little bit of intrigue to it because it's a division game. And I'll tell you what, I think most of the Phillies would be, if they won the first game, they would be trying to play hard that second game to not let the Mets in. I'm not very up on how big the Braves-Mets rivalry is and whether or not they kind of have that same mindset. But it'll be interesting. It's going to be a fun afternoon of baseball. We should know one of the 2 teams. Well, right now they can play any of the team. They can play Milwaukee, Atlanta, the Mets, or Arizona. But we'll know tonight who the Phillies will be watching, which series is most important to them. But good season. We don't have to worry about the Phillies. We can rest. It's kind of a stress-free week. It's a bye week for the Eagles until Saturday. Looking forward to that. Flyers up in New York to play the Islanders tonight. Michkov Mania might be the only thing we have to look forward to. But Michkov Mania tonight up in Long Island as the Flyers take on the Islanders in a preseason game. All right, today we're going to go back to 2007. And on this day in 2007, it was a big day in Phillies history. But before we go back to today, let's take a little bit of a trip back further and go back to September 12th, 2007. The Phillies trailed the Mets by 7 games with 17 left to play. Fast forward now to this day in 2007, they were tied. And the Phillies were playing Washington at home. The Mets were playing the Marlins up in New York. If they both won or both lost, they were going to be playing in Philly, a tiebreaker game for the division the next day. Obviously, there was a way for the Phillies and Mets to both get in if they lost. It did not work out that way. So basically, this was you got to win and then hope for the other team to lose. Mets game started slightly earlier than the Phillies. Mets gave up 7 runs in the first inning. Tom Glavine got shellacked, and it was a party atmosphere from there on out at Citizens Bank Park. Mets ended up losing 8-1. Phillies won 6-1. Ryan Howard went 3 for 4 with a home run. Soon to be named MVP, Jimmy Rollins went 2 for 3 with a triple, an RBI, and 2 stolen bases. Old man Jamie Moyer, 5 1/3, 6 Ks and 1 run as the Phillies won their first National League East crown since 1993 on this day in 2007. They did have to wait to see who they were going to play in the postseason as the Rockies and Padres played that Monday, a tiebreaker game to see who made the NL wildcard. But on this day in 2007, the Philadelphia Phillies won the National League East thanks in part to the Mets getting blown out by the Marlins and then them winning 6-1 on their own against the Washington Nationals. Brett Myers came in, got the final out. Just remember that celebration was a lot of fun. It was short-lived as the Rockies did win that game and sweep the Phillies in the NLDS. But the seeds were planted, and the Phillies would go on to win the World Series in 2008. All right, completing our Philly Sports Villains today, and I wasn't sure which way to go, and this is definitely not going to make me any more friends, but I think that this is a two-part one here. The first villain, we're going to do two today to finish up. It's the Philly sports media. Definitely a villain in this town, and I'll explain why. Not doing myself any favors. Yes, I know. And then the final villain is ourselves. We are the villain in this story a lot of times, and I'll explain why. All right, again, this is a slippery slope for me, being that I'm trying to latch on with, but hear me out. It's no secret that Philly sports media is tough. They always say we hold our players accountable, but they certainly have their favorites. Joel Embiid, they hate. Philly sports media hates Joel Embiid. They hate Nick Sirianni. And I planned this out before the game, so kind of rightfully so at this point. But I think Jalen gets a pass, and Sirianni becomes the scapegoat in this story. Bryce, they love him. Bryce gets zero criticism in this town. Jalen to a certain point. Donovan always got heat. Jimmy Rollins always got heat. Chase Utley, not so much. So you see where I'm going with this. And I think what that does, it's kind of a dangerous thing. It kind of guides what the fans think sometimes. And that's why I'm saying we're going to be the villains. So stay tuned and hear me out on this. They say they have the pulse of the fans, but I don't think they do. Some of the callers, it's the same people all the time. And they have their characters, and they're trying to put on a show. And most people don't call in. And I think what sometimes gets lost is people think, oh, this is the way all Philly... No, they're trying to antagonize. They're trying to get people to call in and listen. So I think... just like the news media, you got to kind of take a step back and think objectively, which sometimes we don't. Philly media oftentimes makes themselves the story. The whole A.J. Brown thing last year, the Deshaun Jackson thing with the gang ties. And again, I mean, it's easy to blame the Philly sports media. I think a lot of times I'm hard on them. So that's why I think they're the villain here. But at the same time, as much as they're a villain, I'm the guy that listens to all the time. I read the newspaper, all that other stuff. So it's kind of one of those things. That's what it is. And I will say, give them credit, even though they're the villain here, that they do call it like they see it sometimes. But I think what you need to keep in mind is they're trying to get people to listen. They're trying to get people to read. So some of the takes tend to be a little bit hotter than what they really are. And then as far as the fans, we are villains. And I'm sorry. I'm the voice of the fan. I always stick up for us. But there's no doubt we're passionate and for the most part knowledgeable. But sometimes we're idiots. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of times we do things that are idiotic and play into the national stereotype. Although a lot of the same stuff that happens with our fans happen in other areas and other stadiums, but we play into it. And I mean, the reputation is what it is, but we play into it. And I think a lot of times, and this is where the media type comes in, we kind of buy in and believe what they say on the media as that's the truth, instead of thinking about it logically. Because some of the takes, they're just thrown out there to get you all riled up. And I'm sorry, but it's the whole Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts thing. Everybody's on Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts gets nothing. And it is what it is. And I think as Philly fans, we're villains because sometimes we think too much with emotion versus logic. And I mean, really, all you need to do is check out half of the text chains that I have going on during an Eagles game. lots of things that are said in the heat of the moment after a bad play. And I think part of that is because we're conditioned to be like that. The other part is that we think with emotion and not logic. And if you step back and think logically, it's fine. So we were like that with Andy and Donovan. And looking back, we didn't know how good we had it with Andy and Donovan. But we were emotionally, because we were fed up and tired of getting so close and not getting to the mountaintop. That's what happened. And then Chip Kelly happened. And I think sometimes we need to take a step back. And like the song says, we are our own worst enemy. But a little bit of fun today. Hopefully I didn't piss off fans and the Philly sports media. It's all tongue-in-cheek, having a little bit of fun here as we end our Philly Sports Villains. But let me know what you think. Are we the villain in this story? Here we are thinking we're the protagonist, but really, are we the villain? But let me know your thoughts on that. On this day in 2007, Phillies won the NL East in part because they beat the Nationals 6-1, and then the Marlins beat the Mets 8-1. First division title since 1993. Let's hope they fare a little bit better this pro season than they did that one. Let me know your thoughts on the Eagles, though. I mean, I'm sure there are some Jalen Hurts apologists out there that are going to tell me how wrong I am. And don't think this is me going pro Sirianni, because he's a buffoon, a moron. And I'm over him at this point. I was sticking up for him, but he didn't have that team ready to play. So who's at most fault for yesterday? Is it Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, or Vic Fangio? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get anything else off your chest. I wonder if Saquon's having second thoughts about signing with this team after yesterday. Jesus. All right. Hopefully you enjoy that Mets-Braves game today. Let me know your thoughts. Go to Philly Goat. Check out my boys at Clashing Conferences. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for September 30th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.